Over the weeks and months since the ruffian's arrival, Lotto and his ruffians has begun to bully those hobbits that spoke out against him or the mysterious chief, scaring and belittling them until many were too afraid to speak their mind. Even in the midst of this unpleasantness, Will Whitfoot went about his majoral duties, reassuring those in Hobbiton that everything would be fine and to keep their spirits up. Seeing that Will's popularity was only growing, Lotto began to implement more savage strategies. Torment turned to beatings, and soon many hobbits were too afraid to go outside. Eventually, this was all too much for old Will Whitfoot. Unable to stay his tongue any longer, Will marched up the path to Bag End to give the so-called boss a piece of his mind. He simply couldn't stand idly by and watch those he had been elected to protect suffer under the boss's rules anymore. However, Whitfoot's outburst upon the doorstep of Bag End had been exactly what Lotto Sackville Baggins had been hoping for. He now had more than enough reason to arrest the Major and assume control over Hobbiton for himself and the Chief. Welcome to the Major's Arrest. For the good army, we've got Will Whitfoot and 12 Hobbits militia. For the evil army, we've got Sid Bearthorn, Ruffian Chief, 6 ruffians, 2 ruffians with whip and 4 ruffians with bow. And the good player has to deploy Will Whitfoot in the center of the board and the rest of their force within 3 inches of Will. The evil player deploys Sid Bearthorn in the center of the southern board edge. They then split the rest of their force into 3 equal parts and deploy each part anywhere within 3 inches of the center of a different board edge. The objective of the game lasts until Will Whitfoot has left the board. The good player wins if Will Whitfoot can escape the board via the southern board edge. The evil player wins if they can carry Will Whitfoot off any board edge. The special rule: Will Whitfoot may not move during the first turn of the game. So let's start a new chapter in the Scouring of the Shire. And the first turn is for the hobbits, but Will Whitfoot may not move this turn. The hobbits are not going to move, so I'm going straight to the move phase of the ruffians. And the ruffians over here are going to charge the ruffian with a whip. He needs a 5, that's enough, another 5, and that's enough, and this hobbit is down. And also this ruffian with the whip is going to charge. 4 is not enough. The other ruffians are going 6 inch to the hobbits. And ruffians with a bow are not going to move. So we go further to the shooting phase. First the hobbits. Those 4 hobbits are going to try to throw some stones at the ruffians with a bow. And I begin with the hobbit with the white shirt. Needs a 3, that's enough. 4 is not enough. The next hobbit, and that's enough. So 1 ruffian down. The third hobbit, a 3 and a 5. That's 2 ruffians down. The third hobbit, that's not enough, and the last one, that's not enough. Those hobbits are going to throw some stones at the ruffians over there. First one, that's a 6. That's not enough. The second one, 6 and a 5. So the third ruffian is gone, and the last hobbit, a 3 and a 5. Whoa, that's very good for the hobbits. They've taken 4 ruffians out of the game. Now it's a turn for the ruffians. We've got 2 bowmen over here, and they are going to shoot to these hobbits. The first bowman needs a 5, that's enough, and another 5, that's not enough. And the last bowman, 5 and a 5, and the first hobbit is also taking down. And that's the end of the shooting phase. For the fight phase we have 2 fights to resolve. First we're going to here, and that's a win for the hobbit. And with the 6, another ruffian is left the board. The last fight, that's equal, but the ruffian has a higher fight value, so the ruffian will win the fight, and the hobbit back away. And with the 6, the hobbit is gone. And that's the end of turn 1. So priority roll, and priority goes to the ruffians. And the ruffians are going to charge some hobbits. This one with the whip. A 4 is not enough, so he just charging this hobbit, and this ruffian is going to charge Will Whitfoot. And the ruffian chief is also going to move up to here. Now it's move phase for the hobbits. This hobbit is going to here, and this hobbit will also charge this ruffian with a whip. shooting phase, the hobbits we've got one hobbit that didn't move, and we've got two ruffians with a bow. The two ruffians with a bow are going to shoot this hobbit. The first bowman needs a 5, that's enough, and another 5, that's not enough, and the second bowman, that's not enough. Now the hobbit is going to try to throw a stone to the chief ruffian. It's a 3, that's enough. And a 5. The hobbit strength is 2 and the defense of the ruffian chief is 4. So a 5 is enough. And the ruffian chief is going to use his fate point. But he fails, so he will have 1 wound left. For the fight phase, we are going to start over here, and we've got 2 hobbits and 1 ruffian, and that's a win for the hobbits. And another ruffian is down. Now we're going to this fight, and again 2 hobbits against 1 ruffian, and the win is for the ruffians. But the 2 is not enough. Over here we've got 1 ruffian against 1 hobbit, and that's a win for the ruffian. But that's not enough. And over here we've got 2 hobbits against 1 ruffian, and that's a win for the ruffian. And that's another hobbit down. For the last fight this round, we've got 1 ruffian, 1 hobbit, and Will Whitfoot will be the green dice, and that's a win for the ruffian. And the ruffian is going to try bind Will Whitfoot in chains. And that's a success, so Will Whitfoot is now in chains. And at the end of the round, Will Whitfoot will try to escape. And he's going to use his 1 might point to make the 5 a 6, and Will Whitfoot will be no longer in chains. So priority roll. And priority goes again to the ruffians. For the move phase, this ruffian is going to charge those two hobbits. This ruffian is going to charge over here. This ruffian is going to charge here, but he's going to throw his whip far. That's not enough, so he just charge. This ruffian is going to charge those two hobbits, and the ruffian chief is going to charge Will with foot. Now it's movement phase for the hobbits. Those two hobbits are going to try to charge the ruffian chief, but the ruffian chief has terror, so they must make a courage test. So the first hobbit that's enough. And the second that's not enough, so he must stay still. For the shooting phase, those two bowmen are going to try to shoot this hobbit. It's a 6 and 3, that's not enough, and the second bowman, that's a 4, that's not enough. For the fight phase, Will Whitfoot will use one of his 3 points of will. And every hobbit within 6 inches, that's all of them, count as being in range of a banner. So the first fight, we are going to do this one with the ruffian with the whip against the hobbit, and that's a win for the ruffian. And that's another hobbit down. Over here we've got 2 hobbits against the ruffian, and that's a win for the ruffian. Oh, I did something wrong, so we are going to do this again. 2 hobbits against the ruffian. It's a win for the ruffian either way. But 1 is not enough. Now we go into this fight. One hobbit, 1 ruffian. It's a win for the ruffian, but the hobbit can re-roll for the banner, so the hobbit will win the fight. And with the 5, this ruffian is also gone. Here we got 2 hobbits against the ruffian. And with a 6, the hobbit will win. But that's not enough. We got Sid Brereton, Ruffian Chief, against Will Whitfoot and a Hobbit. And that's a 6 for Will Whitfoot. And Will Whitfoot is going to try to kill the Ruffian Chief, and that's a success. So the Ruffian Chief is gone. And at the end of the turn, so we've got priority roll, and priority goes to the hobbits. The hobbits are going forward. They can move 4 inch. He's gonna charge. And they also gonna charge. And this one, the last hobbit, is going forward. That's the end of the movement phase for the hobbits. The ruffians will not move, so we go to the shooting phase, and we've got those 2 bowmen over here. They are going to try to shoot these hobbits. The first one, that's a 4. The second one, a 1. That's not enough. There are some fights to do, and we start over here. We've got 1 ruffian against 1 hobbit, and that's a win for the ruffian. And that's another hobbit leaving the board. Next fight over here. Again, 1 hobbit against 1 ruffian. And that's a win for the ruffian. And he wins the fight. And the last one, it's a win for the hobbit. But that's not enough. And at the end of this round, so we've got priority roll, and priority goes to the hobbits. And those hobbits are going to charge the ruffians with a bow. Whitfoot is going to here. This hobbit is going to charge the ruffian. This hobbit is going to charge the ruffian with the whip, and this hobbit is also going forward, and that's the end of the movement phase for the hobbits. So for the ruffians, this ruffian is going to move 6 inch, and at the end of the movement there's no shooting this round, so we go straight to the fight phase. First we will resolve this fight. We've got one ruffian against one hobbit, and that's a win for the hobbit. And with the 6, this ruffian is gone. We've got another fight over here, and again one ruffian against one hobbit, and the ruffian will win the fight on fight value, but the 1 is not enough. The last 2 fights are over here. We've got one hobbit against one ruffian with a bow, and the ruffian will win the fight, and that hobbit is down. For the last fights, that's a win for the ruffian, and another hobbit is gone. And that's the end of the round. Priority roll, and priority goes to the ruffians. This ruffian is going to charge this hobbit. This ruffian is going to charge this hobbit, and those 2 ruffians are going to charge Will with foot, and the last ruffian is going forward. And at the end of the movement phase, the hobbits are all in combat, so they cannot move. So we go straight to the combat phase, and we got one fight over here. Ruffian against the hobbit, and that's... oh yes, Wilfoot will use another of his will points, so every hobbit will take advantage of a banner. So we'll throw again, but it's a win for the ruffian. And with the 5, another hobbit is gone. Now I'm going to do this fight over here. That's again one ruffian against one hobbit, and the hobbit wins the fight, but a 1 is definitely not enough. For the last fight, we've got 2 ruffians, and we've got Will Whitfoot. And that's a win for the ruffians, and they are going to try to put Will Whitfoot in chains, but that's not enough. And that's the end of the round. So priority roll, and priority goes to the hobbits. Will Whitfoot will not be able to make it to the end of the board. So he will charge the ruffian, and this hobbit is also gonna charge the other bowmen of the ruffians. So movement phase for the ruffians. This ruffian is going to charge Will with foot. So that's the end of the movement. For the fight phase, first we are going to resolve this fight. We've got 2 ruffians against 1 hobbit, and Will Whitfoot use his last point of will for the banner. So the hobbit can roll again, and he wins the fight. A 2 is not enough, and the last fight is over here. We've got 3 ruffians against Will Whitfoot. And the ruffians win the fight. And they are going to try to put Will Whitfoot in chains. And that's so the end of the turn. Priority roll. First, Will Whitfoot will try to escape from the change. That's not going to happen, so priority roll, and priority goes to evil. And the ruffian can move up to 3 inch with Will Whitfoot, and that's enough to leave the board with Will Whitfoot. And that's the end of the game, and that's a victory for the ruffians. It was a close game, but the ruffians win this again. So I hope you liked watching this video. If you did, give this video a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the other adventures that are coming of the Scouring of the Shire. Hope I see you next time in another adventure of Scouring of the Shire.